Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the TNAIW GoGoPowerRankings show. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Burt Maclin, no relation to Steve Maclin.
How's it going?
Alrighty, Burt, with so much to talk about, so much happened on this episode of Impact Wrestling, I don't even know where to start. I will say, I'm going to feel some type of way if our new tag team champions are not on this week's Power Rankings.
Yeah, I would expect them. They should be. That was a crowning for them, and yeah, I would hope they would be there. And I can guarantee we won't see Johnny Swinger, as he did lose. I think he's 39 something and 94 now, or so. I think he's lost more than he's won, so it's not starting out good for him. So I don't expect to see him on the rankings.
Johnny Swinger's record is 30-92-1.
He needs 50 wins. He's 20 away. Come on. Let's give it to him.
Okay. All right. I'm expecting to see certain people like Josh, Trey, and Jordan kind of low on the power rankings. At least maybe top 6, just because neither of them had matches. They were all pretty much involving in small segments, so I don't expect them to be pretty high on the list, even though they are champions.
Yeah, it's just like we talked about. They only show up for the big games, but what I will say is I think Jordan should be higher, just because I think the promo segment she had with Mickie James was a lot better. It was better TV than Josh's segment backstage, so just slightly better. No slide on Josh, but I think Jordan should be higher.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Burt, how do you join the power rankings?
Just simply hit me up on Twitter, message or DM Burt Maclin 11, and we'll get you in there. Just if you watch Impact every week and want to get a little top 10 out, that's all we ask for. So Burt Maclin 11.
All right. With that being said, this plays power rankings. Number 10, Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz. Number 9, Cross the Line, Jonathan Gresham. Number 8, Hard to Kill, Mickie James. Number 7, The Death Machine, Sami Callihan. Number 6, X Division Champion, Trey Miguel. Number 5, Die Hard, Eddie Edwards. Number 4, World Champion, Josh Alexander. Number 3, Hard to Kill, Bully Ray. Number 2, World Champion, Jordynne Grace. 1, New Tag Team Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. Wow, okay. Pretty interesting power rankings here. Pretty interesting ones. Let's start with number 10, Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz. So why do you think they earned the number 10 spot? I mean, they were just in a backstage segment.
Because it was good stuff. That again, Lucha likes to refer to them from the original TNAIW show. Watch it. He always refers to them as 97 Diesel and Shawn Michaels, and that's exactly who they remind me of. And Savannah doesn't even have to do anything, and she's over. She sits there looking timid, and Tasha's right. She's the one that beat Mickie James. So that's everything about that whole interview portion of that show was good, was really good. So yeah, they deserve to be number 10.
Well, then in that case, I'm going to make a plea for Maclin. He had a promo, and he deserves to be number 10 too, if we're talking about doing it that way.
Yeah, but then I'm looking at the top 10, and then I don't see anybody that you could take out. So he'd be a number 10A or 11. There's only 10 spots, but yes, I agree with you. He deserves a spot as well, but there's only 10.
So let's talk about number 9, Cross the Line, Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham, as we found out on Impact, that he is now signed to Impact Wrestling. He came out and he saved Delirious from Eddie Edwards. But why do you think he's number 9? I mean, he's been on Impact before. He's a former Ring of Honor champion. So what made him number 9 this week?
I just think it was a great re-debut, and then immediately you know we're going to get Gresham versus Eddie, or at least maybe Gresham and Delirious versus Eddie in a partner in a tag match, but it's going to lead to Gresham and Eddie eventually, and that should be a fun program. So I think number 9's fair.
We're finally getting the match that we were supposed to get.
Yeah, and that's, again, stuff happens, but at least they're, they didn't just gloss over it, and they're bringing it back right when they're able to. So good on Impact.
So number 8, Hard to Kill Mickie James. Doesn't surprise me. She is on here. We talked about it every week. She's going to continue to be on the Power Rankings until the last rodeo is officially over.
When she wins the title. When she wins the title.
Yeah, when she wins the title. And so it doesn't surprise me she was at number 8 because she was only involved in the backstage segments. But I think it's interesting that Mickey's number goes up and down. Sometimes she's top 5, sometimes she's not. So why do you think that is? Is it because most of her matches are predictable because we know she's going to keep winning until she faces Jordynne Grace?
Well, yeah, that's why she's always going to be in the top 10, and that's why week to week, her place depends on what she does. So, until this is over, she's always going to be on the top 10 one way or another.
That's a fair point. Number 7, the Death Machine, Sami Callihan. I actually really enjoyed his match with Angels, who liked my tweet on Twitter. He liked my tweet on Twitter.
That's awesome.
He's no longer Alan Angels. He's simply Angels. And I honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that Angels lost this match, I honestly think Angels probably would have been in Sami's place. But what do you think changed for Sami besides winning that? Because he lost to Khan last week, and this time he beat Angels. So what happened here?
Well, I just think that I don't think they were going to have Sami lose every single match to Violent by Design, but because I definitely see him, he'll beat Angels and then probably lose to Diener. So he gets a win this week just to kind of keep the story, where you still want to see it, where he's just not getting beat every week, where it's like, okay, this isn't fun, So I think he gets the win that was the most predictable one, and then you're going to see him lose to Diener whenever they do that. I'll probably be hard to kill. I think that's what they're going to build to in some sort of hardcore match, death match, whatever. I don't think it's going to be a straight match, knowing Sami Callihan. So, yeah, number 7 this week. I'm fine with it.
So let's talk about 6 and number 2. 6 being X Division champion Trey Miguel, and number 2 being world champion Jordynne Grace. So Trey Miguel, homeboy attacked Crazy Steve.
Should be higher. Than
Jordynne Grace just did a contract signing with Mickie James. So what was it about Jordynne Grace and landed her at the number 2 spot while Trey Miguel is at number 6?
Well, actually, I don't have a problem with Jordynne being number 2 just because I like the way that contract signing broke down, how they're almost kind of trying to make – I think they're trying to make Mickie – I mean Jordynne the heel in this, just by the way Mickie was saying, oh, you don't think I can beat you. It's not like Jordynne's coming off as a heel, but Jordynne just seems to, every time she's on screen, just jumps out of the screen. I think she's probably the biggest star in the company that we have at this point. And so I just think that her being number 2, I don't think anyone will complain about that. I don't think anybody should complain about that.
I'm not complaining about her being number 2. I'm just saying, what did she do that Trey Miguel ended up number 6? I mean, was it because her segment was longer? Well,
I will say this. I'm looking at the top 10 right now, and the top 5. So ahead of Trey is Eddie at 5 and Josh at 4 and Bully at 3. I honestly don't think that you could put those, if anything, put Trey higher. Maybe you could put Trey higher than Josh if you wanted to. but I wouldn't put him higher than Bully just because I think that Bully, like I don't know how much we're going to talk about, but I really think that Bully that Bully promo with Tommy Dreamer was really good. But that promo by Bully was just really like, he came off like a huge prick, and like obviously that's his goal. Like he wants you to hate him. Like everything he was saying, like, and that was like probably the first time I actually wanted to see Tommy Dreamer wrestle. Like I think it was actually the first time it actually made sense for Tommy Dreamer, and he got a huge pop. Like even though it's the same stuff, the same ECW chant, all that, I think that was really good. So I think Bully Ray at 3 is fine. So the only thing I maybe could see is putting Trey ahead of Eddie, but I'm not going to put him ahead of Josh. So that's where it gets tricky.
Well, since we're on the subject of number 3, Hard to Kill Bully Ray, I had to agree with you. That promo, that whole segment involving Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray was phenomenal. Extremely phenomenal. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. But I feel bad for Tommy Dreamer. I felt bad for him.
Hard. Like that comment about Tommy Dreamer's weight, and like it was just very mean. It was very Bully-esque, like if you will. You know what I mean? It was so
Bully
yeah.
proving he's still a scumbag.
Yeah.
So Bully Ray finally admitted he was the one who attacked Ace Austin. So I can see. You think they'll do a program with Bully Ray and Ace Austin?
Well, I really don't want to see Ace lose because Ace and Chris Bay are on a roll right now over in Japan. They're probably the hottest team no one's talking about. So I don't really want, like, maybe if they, wait for a little bit till like after Hard to Kill, or maybe before, like maybe have like some sort of DQ match, or a match that ends in a DQ, that's fine. But yeah, I hope they revisit that at some point.
Yeah, okay. So let's go to number 5, Die Hard Eddie Edwards, in an amazing match with Delirious. And honestly, if Delirious would have won, I feel like Delirious probably would have been in the top 10 this week.
Yeah, but I don't think that was going to happen. I still think that they're always going to book Eddie strong, whether just because he's like not in the main program. They're not. He's earned the right to be like booked as a main eventer still. So you know what I mean? Like unless it's like something like big, and no disrespect to Delirious, he is like someone who's done a lot in this business. I don't think they're going to have Eddie lose at this point on Impact, because Eddie is a bigger star in Impact. So.
Okay, fair enough. So I think he's okay being a number 5.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to get into much details with number 4, World Champion Josh Alexander. Yes, I know he is our World Champion, and we've always talked about how champions always carry weight in the power rankings, but all he did was have a backstage segment. I think he's warranted the number 4 spot.
Real quick, I wanted to say, because talk about Joe Hendry's on the countdown this week. I mean,
Say his name. Say his name.
Joe Hendry, and I don't know that the thing he had. I think it was like the first, something really jumped out at me that I think in 2023, depending on how long his deal is, I think in 2023 you're going to see Joe Hendry as a world champ. I think he'll beat Maclin. And I know at first I had said I wanted Ace to be champion event, but it's not like Ace is going anywhere, I don't think, and Ace is still young. Give Ace a run with the digital media champion. He's a star. It's a good crossover type. And it's becoming the number 2 title in the company slowly. But I think Joe Hendry's going to be world champion in 2023. And I just think that there's something jumped out of me in the screen, just the way that promo that he cut, and then he's got so much charisma. So I'm a little sad that he wasn't on the countdown this week, but I just wanted to I want to say his name, as you will. Give him some love.
I believe in Joe Hendry, and so do you.
Yeah, everybody should. So
yeah. Since you're mentioning it, I would say Bhupinder Gunahar at least deserved to be number 10 this week. I mean, he beat Johnny Swinger and Ziggy Dice in a 2-on-1 handicap match pretty much after Joe Hendry left him.
He's just one of those people, too, that you could point to, and just as another reason Impact just never gets respect, how they build their talent. He's become one of their go-to guys as of late, and he's developing into quite a talent in front of our eyes in Impact. So good for them and good for him.
Yes. All right, so last but certainly not least, number 1, the new tag team champions, so Motor City Machine Guns. It's so nice to see the tag team champions so up high on the list. And because when Heath and Rhino were tag team champions, you barely saw them on there.
Yeah, I think 2023 is going to be a big year with them. I think, and especially since they're carrying the New Japan Strong belts, they have the Impact belt. I could definitely see them going on a little bit of a belt collector run, if you will. But I just think it's pretty crazy that they've only been Impact tag champs 3 times, and 2 of them were like as like the last couple of years. Like the fact that they were only 1-time champion, like back in their, what usually is wrestlers' prime, is amazing. But I think they should and deserved a lot more. There's a lot more credit than they get on Twitter. You hardly ever see people talking about them, whether it's because people don't watch Impact, but people really need to pay attention to the Impact, if not just for the Motor City Machine Guns, because they're amazing. And they are really one of the best tag teams, of all time, I think. So,
I'm not surprised Motor City Machine Guns were number 1. Like you said, they're very well liked, very popular, which is why I think that even if their match hadn't main evented, I still feel like they would have been the top 2.
Yeah.
And a much well-deserved win. I just feel bad for Heath and Rhino that their tag team title reign, they were kind of just there.
Yeah, I think it's because it was one of those things where they were there to get the belts off OGK, and then, so more of like a transitional champ, which is fine. I don't think that this means Rhino's a legend, and I think we could see Heath. I think a singles run with Heath is fine. He's a good mid-carder. He could develop into something more, but I don't think it hurts Heath and Rhino. It's just one of those things, and I think it's just more about this Motor City Machine Guns time. Like, I think they deserve this run more than anybody in the company who has a champion at this point.
I definitely do think that they deserve it. Very well deserved. I cannot complain about them being number 1. But I think we covered everything. Wouldn't you say we covered all the numbers? Yeah. Was there anything else you want to say before we get ready to wrap up?
As always, just support everything on the channel, TNAIW, with Jeff and Lucha, Talking Bloody Nonsense, Craig and Nixon. Just support all the shows on the network.
Yeah, so make sure you hit that bell and you just like and subscribe so you get notified whenever TNAIW drops TBN, LL, TNA. And of course, if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to TNAIW. They're live on Twitch every Sunday at 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Whatever coast you're on, you could always join the chat. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.